Hi, my name is Marci Slater, and I am the broker, owner, and realtor of Slater & Company Realty. I have been in the business for over 16 years, so I have shown a lot of homes. So I'm going to share with you today how I would show a home, and if you like the ideas, I hope that you use them for yourself. So anyway, these are just suggestions. Please talk with your broker if they have any other things that they would like to add. So number one, you want to talk to your buyer and identify the homes and find out how many homes is appropriate to show your buyer. Sometimes I can get overwhelmed. So maybe 10 to 12 homes a day. And then you're going to schedule the tour. So you're going to go on showing time or however the listing agent wants you to schedule those appointments. And so you want to get permission and you want to make sure you're getting the lockbox codes and you're taking all of that information down and that you take it with you. So technology or writing it down, but make sure you have all that with you before you go. And then when you show up with your buyer in front of the house, you want to have this conversation. Number one, I suggest not parking in the driveway because you never know if somebody's going to back out or not. So I suggest parking on the street, maybe find some shade. But you want to talk to your buyers about not talking inside the property, and you definitely don't want to be condescending or say anything negative in any way. So they can actually hear you outside. Sometimes people have the Ring doorbell, and so they're listening all of the time. So outside and inside. So have this conversation with you or with your buyers in the car. So there's going to be recording devices, there could be photography, they are listening to everything that you're doing. So ask your buyers to take notes. So send them with a MLS Plano or a notepad or something, or maybe on their phone. But any questions that they have or any comments that they have, make sure that they're just keeping that to themselves, and you can discuss that when you get into your car when you leave. So first of all, you get to the lockbox, you get the key, and you find out maybe there's another agent there. So you wait politely until that agent is done. If they have the key, then I suggest taking the key and going back to the lockbox, putting it in and taking it back out so that it's tracking you in the time that you were there. I feel like that's the professional way to do it. Sometimes you can even give that other agent a business card so that they know that you're the realtor. If there is not another agent there showing the property, then go ahead and knock first and make sure that there's no one there, because sometimes there are people there. So if somebody comes to the door and they're there, then you have to be there while they're there. Hopefully they'll stay out of your way. If not, then like I said, just try to keep your comments to yourself and be polite to the occupant that's there. Sometimes you go in and there's actually an occupant that wasn't expecting you, and they might be doing something that might be a little disturbing. If that happens, immediately leave the property, call the listing agent, and let them know what happened. So if you get in the door and there's no one there and you can start touring the property, I suggest that you lock the front door so that nobody can come in. So that's a safety thing. So you want to do that first. And then you talk to your clients about I lock and unlock doors, so let me do that first. So please stay with me as you're going through the property. Ask them maybe where they want to start, maybe what their favorite room was on the MLS. You see some photos, maybe they want to start at the kitchen, or maybe they want to start at the master bedroom and move their way back, or work their way back through the house. Make sure you're turning on all the lights and that you're opening blinds and that you're really paying attention to the property. Buyers can be involved personally or emotionally. You as the agent want to be looking for things that maybe they're not going to see. So maybe in your head you're kind of identifying maybe potential issues. And as you're walking through the house and you kind of get an idea that your buyer might like this house, I would really start writing some of those things down, because if you do end up putting an offer on the house, you have some of those already written down, like the refrigerator, the serial number, the washer dryer, write down what the brand is so that you have some of this information. You can always call the listing agent later, but it's nice to have some of that information as you're going through the property. Just be aware of some of those things as you're looking, because they're looking at the size of rooms. You want to be looking at some of the other things that maybe you can point out to them, and maybe that's an issue and maybe it's not, but you know, that's your job, is to kind of make them aware of if they're going to put in an offer, these are maybe some things that they might have to fix, or that the appraiser might actually call out. So be making notes, you know, to them and to you know, on your pad of paper, however you do it. Next, Talk to the listing agent before you go looking at property on whether you're allowed to take pictures or not, because having a picture of the refrigerator and the washer dryer or the garage where you can't really see it, taking pictures, sometimes taking video, just make sure that you have permission to do that. That is also very helpful when you do go to write an offer. So make sure that you have permission to be doing video or pictures. And once you've made it all the way through the house, please make sure that I leave my clients back at the front door, and then I go through the house and make sure that all the doors are locked, all the windows are locked. Even if you did not open them, they could have been left open by someone else, and you are now leaving and your time is tracked on that lockbox. So you make sure that you're leaving the property all secured. And then make sure, it's so important that if there is a note anywhere on any of the doors to actually leave that open, please make sure that you leave that open. Sometimes those notes are in the MLS. So the listing agent will say, please don't lock the seller out. They come in and out of the garage. So if there's if there's notes on the door, make sure that you're following those instructions and you don't lock your seller out. And then when you do leave, make sure you put the key back in the lockbox. Don't drive away with that. That has happened before. So make sure you actually put the key back in the lockbox. And then if you can, sometimes you actually have the occupant's cell phone number and they have requested that you let them know when you leave. So it's very polite to go ahead and text them, get back in your car, get back in the air conditioning, whatever, but let them know that they can come back to their home. Maybe they've got kids, maybe they've got animals, and they'd like to get on with their, with their day. But make sure everything's turned off, everything's locked up, however you found it, make sure that you leave it that way. And then it's really super important that you talk with your clients about that particular home before you go to the next one and get their feedback and write it down. And if you think there's an idea that they're going to put in an offer, be very specific on what color the blinds were there ceiling fans in all the rooms, what did you like about the kitchen, what did you not, because these are conversations that you're going to have down the road. So once you've left the property, there are a few miscellaneous things that you want to keep in mind as you're going through the property. And so I'm going to read off a list for you. If it looks like there's been some foul play, maybe there's been some theft. I've actually walked into plenty of homes where there was a flood and you walked in the door and your foot went squish in the carpet because there was water. You want to back out and call the listing agent immediately and make sure that they understand what's going on. And if you can help them anyway, I'm going to go above and beyond. And I actually carry paper towels and other towels and flip-flops and things in the back of my car so that I can help them out. So if that's happening, please notify them right away. If you're early or late, please call the agent, text them, however you can get a hold of them. Let them know so they can contact the occupant and be polite. Sometimes you might have to wait or go somewhere else, go, grab a Starbucks or something and come back. But make sure that you're not coming early or late, unless you have permission from the occupant or the listing agent. Never ever touch the thermostat, even if it's hot outside. That is the seller's property. Number one, you don't know what their situation is, so you don't want to be messing with the bill and leaving it, at a lower rate for too long. But also, you don't want to break anything. So just leave the thermostat, what it is. Next, as much as you might need to, do not use the facilities there. So even if there's toilet paper and soap and a towel, try not to do that. So as you're going, throughout the day and you're showing property, try to find a spot where you can stop and take care of that, not inside the seller's home. Leave all the testing for the inspectors. So please do not be touching things that might break. Again, you can take pictures, you can take notes, you can talk with your agent, but please don't be, messing with anything because we don't want anything to break. Next, you want to leave a card. As an agent, even if there is a lockbox, it's polite to leave a card because if the occupant comes back to the home, they want to know that you were there and they want to know who you are. And so sometimes it's nice to see the order too of who came in what order. And that's just very helpful, more so for the occupant, really, I think, than is for the listing agent. They just want to know someone actually came to see their home. Really important, please don't eat or smoke or bring pets unless you have permission. If it's an assistive animal and you've gotten permission, that's great. But please be really respectful of the seller's property and not be doing anything that you shouldn't, leaving any trash or things like that. Please just keep that in the car. Once you've gotten the feedback from your buyers, it's super important that you share that feedback with the agent, whether it's right away through showing time or whether you've made notes on your tour and then when you get home over the next day or two, as soon as you can, that you're giving feedback. Because, you know, if you give feedback, then everybody else gives feedback and everybody plays nice, and it helps the sellers get their home sold. And be very honest, sellers really do appreciate when you are being honest. They need sometimes that advice to get their sellers to maybe do something that they're not doing. So give honest feedback and do it in a timely manner. And honestly, I know there's lots more things that I could probably share with those, but those are the big things. So that's how I like to show homes. So thanks for listening today.